now preparing to live stream, so we'll see if YouTube is going to do its stuff or whether it's just going to like leave us hanging. But no, it says it's now streaming live. Okay, so hello, welcome everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Alison from DigiTeach, and I am joined today by a very, very interesting man and owner, Mr. John Hayes, from his amazing company called Cool Class. And I'm really, really happy to have him here to tell us about this company and what opportunity it can bring you, especially if you are a freelance teacher or an online tutor or an online teacher, or even if you're not, if you're offline and you want to be online, then I think this is going to be really, really interesting for you. So without further ado, John, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all, and then we'll take it from there.
All right. Well, thanks, Alison, for having me. My name is John Hayes. I'm the creator of My Cool Class. Not an owner, because My Cool Class, one thing that makes us different is all of our teachers are owners with a share and take part of the decision making. So I am a director, but the members actually control me. They can vote me out later. But I've been English now for about 6 years, both at brick and mortar and online schools. I'm a California native, and I've been living in Warsaw, Poland for the past 5.5 years. And last year, during the pandemic, I was, just stuck with everyone else, pretty much on house arrest. And, teaching, I started working more and more and more. Didn't take long before there were a lot of major changes in the ESL industry, once everyone started realizing how much they could profit off of it. And I'm not talking about the teachers, I'm talking about the investors and the owners of these other platforms.
I hear you. Yes.
So, I've done a lot of activism in the past. I've done anti-racism activism, workers' rights activism back in California. So being, huddled up in my flat in Poland for, a year, it really wanted me just to do something. I was bored with what I was doing. I saw that, my wages were getting lower, even though I was actually doing more work. I noticed a lot of my colleagues and other teachers were hurting, they're losing students, and just so many problems. So I looked into it one day. I'll note before I was a teacher, I was a private detective for 11 years, almost 11 years in San Francisco. So I'm really good at investigating things. So I learned everything I could on what can I do to create an online teaching platform. But I didn't want to do it like other companies. It's ESL, well, online teaching in general, not just ESL, anything, dance, yoga, whatever. It's huge right now, and it's not going away. Even when the pandemic goes away, online education is not going away. So, with that, I've been interested in cooperatives for a long time. I actually did undercover security a long time ago at a food co-op in California. So when I was 18 years old. So I kind of learned about co-ops around 18, and I just really loved the business model, where you can take a group of people, put them together. Everyone, has different talents. Some people are great at one things and are horrible at other things. And when you have one person that puts a company together, or even just a couple people that put a company together, you have to make sure you have, X amount of things covered to run a successful business. Mm-hmm. You could be amazing at your job and suck at marketing. You can be great at, marketing, or you're bad at finances or business management. So, there's all these little pieces to the puzzle that make a company. Traditionally, when your online platforms now, if it's Preply, VIP Kit, italki, whatever, all of them, you know, it usually started out with someone like me, you know, that had a good idea, that wanted to do something. Then they pitched the idea to investors. These are people that don't care if you're selling, you know, education, if you're selling, you know, cheap plastic toys with lead paint from China. They don't care. They are in it for the money. And standard practice is if you're not making at least a 20% return on your investment, you're doing it wrong. So if you put that in consideration on all these investors coming into online education, now you see where all this extra money is going, because these companies aren't losing money at all. You know, it's just huge profit.
Yeah.
I know personally a lot of the Chinese platforms, most students, or the parents, shall I say, are paying between 50 to 80 US dollars per hour.
Wow, I didn't know it was that much.
Most of them are paying around that much, and they're paying teachers 12 to 24.
Yeah.
12 to 24. And that's for the native speakers. I'm not even going to get into the inequalities that the non-native English teachers have to endure. But
yeah, I mean, I really want to touch on that actually, because I think that's really, really important. Obviously, I'm British and I'm from the UK. My first degree is in English literature and language, and my second one is in applied linguistics. I have to say, out of all the students on my linguistics course, the majority of the people that were the strongest were the non-native speakers. You know, they had their grammar and everything, so, you know, so it better in lots of ways than lots of native English students on the course. And apart from that, English is such a diverse language today. It is spoken all over the world, and having non-native speakers and teachers actually of English, I think enriches a student's ability to learn the language effectively. When you come to the UK, if you go to like anywhere in the UK, we're a very international country, even though we're really small, and we have different dialects and accents of English from different regions of the country, as well as from like different countries. You know, we can have people from India or from, you know, from Pakistan speaking English very well with their accent. And because of diversity and equality laws in the UK, as probably in the US, you can't say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't understand you because you're Indian or something like that. You just can't do that. It's not allowed. So part of learning English and being a good student is also accepting and being also able to understand those accents, because that's as important as it is learning just, you know, English from a British person, for me anyway. And obviously when you work in the workplace in England or English speaking, you know, countries, you can't discriminate against people because of where they come from. So it just, I don't understand why it's not really been touched on. And one thing that I find unbelievable with lots of particularly Chinese companies is they're often using resources from Oxford and Cambridge. And I wonder how these publishers would feel if teachers were being discriminated against because of where they come from. Because I know Oxford University Press, I wonder if they knew that. I don't think they would really be in support of that element of discrimination, because it is discriminative.
Well, you know, a big chunk of it is actually using, you know, racism as a part of marketing. And a lot of Chinese platforms do that. You know, there is a lot of, I'm not saying China's a racist place, but I mean, racism exists in lots of places in the world, all over the place. I'm not singling out China by any means, but you know, they still have the blonde hair, blue eyes, white American type, especially American. They really love American teachers there. but
Don't hate me.
I've noticed that though too. They're saying we want, or they'll say we'll take UK citizens, but we won't take Irish citizens. I mean, just but some of them are just ridiculous. Or we won't take South Africans, but we will take Filipinos. But there's just
as well.
it's just insane. But one thing I learned is after leaving the U.S., living in Poland now, and working in different schools, meeting other teachers from different places. I worked with an English teacher from Turkey here at a school, and she actually sounded like she was probably from Los Angeles, my hometown, if you're actually talking about, accent. But she would never be able to get a job on some of these platforms simply because of, her passport. And then, other companies, they have the same curriculum, the same content. They might charge, let's say the equivalent of $20 for one class and then $15 for another, but the lower class is going to be taught by maybe a Filipino teacher. And they have to have the same qualifications. A lot of these platforms are asking for degrees. They don't care if you're 19 years old and have a degree in fashion design.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against fashion design, but it has nothing to do with teaching.
Oh, English.
or English for that matter. And and interestingly enough, there's platforms I can't actually apply for because I don't have a degree. After I turned 18, I couldn't afford one. Very working class. I couldn't afford education in the United States, very expensive college there. So I ended up going into, start doing trade schools. As I said, I was a private detective. So I went through lots of private training schools. I, testified, hundreds and hundreds of times in court, wrote really long, detailed, reports of this thick. So, I mean, and I also was an instructor. I trained other people to, do different aspects of that job. So that's actually my background. And then myself being a native English speaker as well, after I moved abroad, this is how I got into teaching English, was with my past experience. I know the grammar, or else, courtrooms would laugh at me, and, how to present myself. So that's kind of how I really got into teaching, and, kind of switched careers after I left the US. But I've met so many Polish English teachers. And, a lot of the Polish English teachers I met, they don't just speak 2 languages, they speak 3 or 4
very good.
or 5.
They're very good, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have a lot of Polish people in the UK.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Polish people who are teaching in the schools in the UK. They're actually a mainstream school, not a language college. Teaching mainstream in like the primary schools and the secondary schools, because they're so. I mean, put it this way: if someone can speak 2 languages or 3 languages or 4 languages, the chances are they are going to be able to teach languages a lot better than a monolingual speaker, for sure. I'm bilingual myself, or trilingual, my children are, and I know the way my brain works when I'm teaching English or teaching French, because I also teach French as well, that I'm able to break it down and teach it perhaps, I don't want to say in a better way, but maybe in a way that is more relevant to the student because of that ability. And I think, Polish people and people from other countries as well, they are able to do that. It's infuriating. So your company, does that help? Does that accommodate this? Does it address this global issue in the ESL industry?
Yes, 2 things actually. One, the word native speaker is not going to be allowed on any teacher's profile or video.
Yay! Hey, I hear
if you want to say you're from the UK, you can, that's fine. But the whole thing is we're going to really try to, and we're going to be doing anti-marketing. We're actually going to be doing a lot of the opposite of what other platforms do. We are going to be doing a lot of content marketing. We want lots of, writing and material out there too that's really debunking this whole native speaker myth. You have everyone from, Noam Chomsky to George Carlin, who have, pretty much said it's not true. And actually being from one place, it doesn't mean you understand the language better or that you can even teach it better. And realistically, if you're teaching a 5-year-old, Chinese student, what is the likeliness that they're going to come in regular contact with a native English speaker on a regular basis?
I mean, I don't know, because I've never been to China, but
I mean, in Poland here, most of my friends, all of my friends, because I don't speak Polish, all of my friends are very fluent in English. And only maybe 1 or 2 of them have actually even been to an English-speaking country.
Okay.
So, it's so to have, to say a native is, necessarily better. I mean, of course, there's very specific circumstances where you would want a native from a place. If someone was moving to San Francisco because they got a job in, Silicon Valley, and they want to, understand California slang. But, so they might want to seek someone specifically, from California, or someone that is, if you're learning law, if you're taking legalese, okay, you're probably going to want someone from, if you're, going to the UK, you're going to want someone to teach you UK legalese, not US legalese, and probably not. So, I mean, there's that are relevant, absolutely. If it's very advanced, where you want to, be able to just speak without thinking about it. But in most cases, no, it's not. I don't think it's necessary. And it's especially not necessary to pay another qualified person a quarter of the amount of a native speaker for doing the same work.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But from my experience, I mean, I didn't work very long for any Chinese companies, thankfully. But in the ESL industry and the Chinese companies, sometimes people think that native speakers get paid more, but it might look like that on the outside, but then they have their rating system where they kind of give with one hand and they take away with the other. So they say, yeah, we're going to pay you whatever it is, I don't know, £15 or £20 an hour, or $20 or $15, but then they've always got that rating system where it kind of just always goes down on a slide, because their game, I think, is just to have everybody at the same level being paid the same amount. And they use all these different strategies, the rating system, that you get paid more if you have more hours, and all this stuff. All of this is like a strategy just to control everyone and keep everybody on the same pay. The ESL industry, for the most part, with companies, has become like the factory of the world. And as we were saying earlier, love it or hate it, most teachers in those situations working for companies like that are just slaves. They're modern day slaves. You're not a freelancer. You're not choosing when you want to work, not really, because you have to do it within 3 hours in the Beijing timeline. You're not choosing how much you want to be paid. You're being told, we will only pay you this amount of money. You're being treated like an employee. You have to wear a uniform. You have to use their resources. You can't take time off, or if you do, it's going to drop your bookings. For me, who I'm completely freelance, I have my own companies. For me, that is my freedom. If I want to, I can work as much as I want to, or not. And, either employ teachers to take my classes or not. For me, that is being a freelancer. Sure. What I see in the ESL industry, the ESL platforms, but sorry, when everyone says, oh yeah, I'm an independent teacher, no, you're not.
Absolutely.
You're working, you're more or less an employee, but without all of the benefits. So how does your company, because your company, I want to be clear, your company is a UK-based company, isn't it? It's not like a new company.
Cooperative.
Cooperative, yeah, cooperative. Thanks for correcting me. It's not like a brand that's then going to be in Asia or something like that. It is definitely UK based.
Yes, and we are members of Cooperatives UK who helped us set up actually too. So we are members. So first off, I'll say, why the UK? I'm not British, and I don't and I don't live there. So cooperatives have a very, very long history in the UK. It's whole, the modern cooperative was founded in the UK. So, you have, Co-op Foods, which is one of the largest grocery chains there. And so, yeah, so, there are plenty of cooperatives in the UK where most people know what one is. Unfortunately, that's not the case in other parts of the world. I'm explaining what a co-op is all the time to people that have no idea. So, but I'll save that for another talk. But nonetheless, the co-op actually allows us to set up a cooperative, UK does, with having no UK citizens or residents being the directors.
Okay.
So there's 6 of us directors. 3 of us are located in Poland. One's Polish, another American, and myself. One South African, one Indonesian, and one in Indonesia, and then one another American in the U.S. So we're all over the world right now with the directorship. So we have lots of Zoom meetings. I just got out of one before here. So the UK allowed us to do that. We also hired a consultant in the UK that's what they do. They set up cooperatives. And he was able to help us out with all the paperwork and all of the legal stuff and the whole formation process. So, we were actually able to do it pretty quickly, and didn't actually cost too much money. I mean, more work than money in this case. So, how cooperatives work, I'll just vaguely get on that, is every person that joins the cooperative is an investor. Part of cooperatives is each member does participate economically. So when you do sign up and join My Cool Class, there is a membership, or there is an onboarding fee, shall I say. The highest is £25. That's for high income countries such as the UK, US, Canada, and then all the way down to, low income countries, which would be, £5 or even less if you're in, a place like Gaza or Yemen. We'll even waive the fee altogether because we want it to be, based on what you can afford. We're not just going to say £25 because £25 could be, 2 months worth of rent somewhere in the world. So that's so I mean, really though, you go to places, Bangladesh or Nepal, it's very, 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 that could absolutely be rent for the month. So we wanted to go ahead and, scale it that way. So you put in your application, and ultimately that's going to be your resume. You're going to need to upload, proof of ID, all the basics. We are requiring a CV. Most companies don't. That's kind of not a little unusual because you're not working for us. When a teacher comes on, you actually become a co-owner of My Cool Class with the same voting right as me. 1 vote, 1 worker, 1 vote. That's the principle. So let's say My Cool Class blows up. 5 years from now, we have, let's say we have 3 million in surplus in profits. So now all the members are going to actually vote on what happens to that money. Cool. Maybe we'll take a chunk of it and we'll vote to reinvest it. Maybe we'll provide, 2 paid days off for everyone. Maybe we'll give everyone, or maybe we'll just pay out cash dividends based on your shares. So there is a 19% contribution, not a fee, it's a contribution that every teacher pays of their monthly income to the cooperative, which is still significantly lower than most of the other platforms, or if you figure out what their students paying and what you're getting paid, 19% is actually very low. And this is going a couple different places. One, it's paying for overhead, operating costs, and it's paying for, admins, paying for marketing, it's paying for, just all your basic operations. Secondly, it's going to, a chunk of it is going to go to your own paid time off fund. So all teachers are going to be contributing to their own fund. You can't take out more than what you put in, and this is based on your income too. So what this breaks down to is after 1 year, you would accumulate 7 paid days off. And your 7 paid days off is based on your average salary over that whole year, so to speak. So ultimately, it's just meant to be a little cushion when a teacher gets sick. If they want to actually take a vacation, they don't have to sacrifice, a quarter of their monthly salary if they, their cousin's wedding and they want to take a break for a week. It's just meant for a little cushion. We wanted to offer that because so many teachers are living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. And, it's hard times for a lot of people. So my cool class, we really just wanted to offer that little bit of cushion out of that 19%. So when that's factored into it, you're paying even less than that. And then thirdly, then money's going into the general fund. It's going into the cooperative savings account if we need to do something or buy anything. But no one is profiting off of teachers' labor. Yeah, it's going into paying, admins, but that's part of overhead who are not making ridiculous fees. Most companies, your highest paid worker or your owner and your lowest paid owner, it's like 367 times more that the highest paid worker is making than the lowest paid worker. Like 300 and something times more. In a cooperative, it's usually around 5. Five times more. That's a huge difference. I mean, that's a huge, almost 400% or 5% based on that. So yeah, there aren't going to be, members also have a right to, financial information every 3 months, they do there's quarterly meetings. So everyone actually knows what's going on. But at the same time, we also require members to go through cooperative training. And this is smart because we want, if you're going to be a business owner, you need to know how to run the business. So we're giving those tools to all the teachers. So when it does come time to, make a vote about money issues or a policy change or whatnot, that all the members are educated and informed to make that best decision possible. So you're getting that on both hands.
Okay, so the 19%, that's 19% per class or 19%, what is that 19% of?
It's 19% of your monthly income.
Okay, 19% of your monthly income. Okay, that's good. Okay.
I mean, it will come out of, it will, on paper, it'll look like every single class, but yeah, it's 19%.
Okay.
I mean,
19%. Okay, so the difference. Okay, because there are, I don't know if there are any companies, and most companies it's about 30-35%. So one, it's less, but the big difference is that there's this element of transparency about how much a company, the co-op, is making, and you are investing within that. Okay. Okay. So what I mean, I think that's great. I do think that's really good, and it's a really interesting business structure, actually.
And it's based on, and then like I said, 5 years from now, and say dividends are going to be paid out when there is a significant surplus or whatnot. That's based on your financial participation, which is that 19%. So this is really cool because this would allow a teacher in a low-income country who's teaching their own local students or whatnot at a lower rate. So when there is a surplus, that's distributed evenly amongst or based on your financial participation. So there's actually 2 kinds of shares. There's your patronage share, which is your work. How much money do you generate? So you have your patronage share. And then this is also going to be really cool. Teachers can buy equity shares, like buying stock in my cool class.
Yeah.
And only members can do this too. Another party can't come in and say, hey, I'm buying all these shares. No, only members can buy shares and no one can hold more than 5% of total shares. But if you're holding, 0.1% of total shares or 5%, one vote. Doesn't matter.
That's really good. I like that 5% because the minute you start mentioning shares, people think investing, there's always someone perhaps that wants to feel a little bit greedy. So that limitation, I really like that. That's keeping it like a real level playing field for everybody.
Yeah, it's just a democracy. It's, people demand democracy from their government, but rarely does anyone mention about democracy in the workplace.
Yes. Well, they do, but it goes on. It normally falls on our head.
Yeah, or you get the pink slip.
The P45, we call it in England. The
Okay.
P45 is like a piece of paper you get after you've been fired. It's where your tax information is, like P45.
Sure. And while teachers, there's still independent contractors with My Cool Class, but as a cooperative, we have a specific legal structure and rules that we have to follow under UK law. So we are still bound. We're actually bound by our governing documents and our membership agreement. So we can't, if this becomes successful, a year from now, I can't change my mind and say, by the way, we're not that legally cannot happen.
Okay,
so,
good, yeah.
So nothing, and that's another thing, members get to read all of our company documents and what's filed with the FCA and the whole vote. Everything is very, very, very transparent.
Good.
Okay. And yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so let's move on. What can a tutor teach on your platform or on the platform? Because it's like, I shouldn't say you, I should not, the platform.
No, just my idea, but now there's 159 of us as of right now, I think, probably more since we started. But so My Cool Class is not just going to be for languages. Right now, as we're starting off, the majority are ESL teachers, but it is not going to be limited to ESL. Maybe this is a mistake for trying to cover too wide of an area with online teaching, but we're really trying to cater to so many different needs here. So one, if you wanted to teach dance, if you wanted to teach economics, science, math, all of that is allowed. If you wanted to teach, cultural studies, or, really the sky's the limit with what you can teach on My Cool Class. We're just avoiding, the obvious ones, Bible study classes, no, conspiracy theories, the world is flat, or, how to build a bomb. Yeah.
You're gonna get my video taken down.
But ultimately, the options are wide open, and we do have a rule that you do need to be qualified in whatever it is you teach. Qualified, yes, we know that is vague, and we want it to be that way, because once you start tightening up the rules, you're going to start finding 1,000 exceptions to your own rules on why you should have. So we just want to make sure, if you're teaching English, if you're teaching ESL, yes, you need a TEFL certificate at the bare minimum. If you are a linguistics professor, no, you don't need a TEFL certificate to teach English. So you're more than qualified to do it.
Yeah.
If you are an ESL teacher, but your native language is Spanish, well, getting your TEFL certificate doesn't mean you know English. It means you know the basics on how to teach. That's what it teaches you to do. So if you are teaching ESL, you're qualified to teach ESL, but your native language is French or Spanish, teach that too. You can. You know how to teach. You get it. You don't need, why do you need a separate certificate on how to teach Spanish when it's literally the same thing as English? Because neither one actually touch up on the language itself. It's a certificate that certifies that you went through a course that shows you know how to teach. And even having a TEFL, that doesn't mean you're a good teacher. So, that's why we're having, hey, put your CV, write a little bit about yourself. Because that's when you lose quality control, is when you say you must need this, this, and this. I don't care if you have a bachelor degree in fashion design, that's not relevant to teaching English. A lot of these Chinese companies, they want to see your bachelor's in fashion design, or else you're not even getting a job. So that's kind of why we are doing it, that way with the application process and hiring. But secondly, with My Cool Class, we have different types of classes we're doing. We're going to have a general marketplace, which isn't anything special. Teachers create their own lesson packages. They're on our marketplace. Students can search for them and book whatever they offer in their lesson packages. Secondly, teachers can offer advertised courses. So this could be anything from, an 8-week debate course or something like that we will promote and advertise that students can enroll themselves in. Or it could be, 4 weeks of, Japanese cooking or something like that. It could really be anything, and we'll go ahead and they'll be categorized and we'll be marketing and promoting them on the website. Next model we have, and this is a problem that you see on many platforms such as, Preply, for example, is there are price wars. There are major price wars on all of these platforms. And so there's people charging, $3-4 an hour.
Yeah.
And then there's people charging, $40-50 an hour, and the quality, it's just a big mess. So what we're going to do here is, it hasn't been decided yet because all the teachers are actually going to vote on this. This is going to be the first vote of My Cool Classes. What is going to be the minimum marketplace price for ES? Each category will have a different rate, but we'll just use ESL here. What is going to be the lowest rate offered on the marketplace? Regardless if you're native or non-native, doesn't matter. So this is actually going to help everyone in the long run, because while there isn't going to be a maximum on how much you can charge, if you want to charge $500 a class, you can, but you're not charging $5 a class.
Yeah. So
we'll just have a minimum rate, and then it can go anywhere from there.
I have 2 questions on that. It's a really interesting point, because I have 2 companies, and one is similar to yours, although I work mainly with the UK British public. So I have to have teachers that have an idea of the UK curriculum, the school curriculum, because mine's many years old, so the parents come there because their kids are in school in the UK. So over the years, obviously myself, I've tried lots of different structures, and at one time I did something, not a co-op, but I did something similar to having lots of different teachers offering classes and courses. And the issue that I came up against, so I'm interested to see what your response to this is that when it came to pricing, teachers kind of get a bit competitive. So, and then the prices go up and down. But then when you're teaching globally, in my other company, we teach, that's globally. What is kind of like an average rate for an English lesson, for example, in let's just say in Spain, would be completely different to the rate of an English lesson, for example, in Iraq. So, and lots, and people just cannot afford, for all the goodwill in the world, they cannot afford that. So another part of one of my businesses, I'm monetized by Facebook, so I kind of give all of that for free, because then people can learn English without having to pay. So basically I'm paid by the Facebook advertisers. So for me, that solves my problem. But within one platform, I found it really difficult how do you do that if you've got a teacher that's, I don't know, an English teacher. I have a teacher that I work with. She's actually from the Philippines. Her English is so good. I mean, amazing, really, 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 really good. And her written, she deals with lots of my A-level students and things like that. And her analysis of English is very, very good. I mean, really good. And I'm always saying to her, you need to start charging more. And she says, no, because, in my country, I don't need it, but she's getting clients from the UK. So, and I say, but, it's about what the market can give you. You're good, you can charge this is your clientele, and this is where you can profit from your expertise without putting the student at a disadvantage, because obviously these clients here can pay for it, whereas others can't. So how are you going to overcome that in your platform?
So, well, that's where that is actually the next model I'm getting to right there. So we have the marketplace, which is public on the website there. We'll have the courses and then the teacher marketplace. Now, this is where it's going to get very unique and interesting. So each teacher, they have their own URL that they can share on social media. Now, we're going to have private courses available for teachers. So let's say now, for example, I'm living in a low-income country. Doesn't matter if you're native or non-native, whatever. And you're trying to market yourself, because teachers, yes, the co-op's going to be marketing the platform, but teachers will still absolutely need to, market themselves a bit too, especially while we're a brand new, company up in the ground. So let's say, for example, Poland, for example. I'm in Poland here. Most people are spending around roughly 20 pounds, 18 to 20 pounds per hour for English here. That's what most students are paying. So let me just say I'm living in maybe Nepal or somewhere where the cost of living is a lot cheaper. So let's say I'm a Nepali teacher and I'm on the marketplace. The minimum is, let's say, 15 pounds. You cannot charge less than 15 pounds per hour on the marketplace. Mm-hmm. Now, that teacher in Nepal, he can go ahead and go onto his Facebook groups or whatever like that, saying, hey, I'm offering English lessons at, whatever their currency is, which may be like 3 pounds an hour. If they want to write that themselves on their own Facebook and post their link to their My Cool Class profile, then they say, send me a message, send me a message, send me a message. So cool, the student's interested. I want to take English lessons for 3 pounds an hour. That's what I saw on this guy's social media post. Go to the guy or teacher, just say teacher. Sorry, I'm from California, everyone's guys.
Okay, sorry.
It's either guys or dudes, so. So then the student would go on there. They would say, oh, message teacher, message me. They go hit the message button. You need to create an account to send the message. Okay, student creates the free account, sends the teacher a message. Hey, I saw your, whatever on this Facebook post. I'm interested. Okay, great. If you want, I can go ahead and set you up and enroll you into a course. Student can agree. They can negotiate their own price. The teacher submits a quick form to the admin of My Cool Class, one of the admins. They'll go ahead, create the course with that price on the terms the teacher wants, and then we'll go ahead and enroll the student. And guess what? That price does not affect the marketplace. Completely private. We can draw traffic to our website. And if teachers want to promote themselves with an individual rate in their own locales, they can do that, absolutely. So therefore, we're not cutting out low-income students completely. That's how we can, and that's really the happy medium that we came, in between that.
Yeah, that's really good. I really like that because, and also it stops this, I don't know what word to use, but quite often, for example, there is a really popular platform in the UK for private tutors called Tutorful. And this is now a really big company, but originally it was just started by a private tutor. He was a private maths tutor, I think Matt was, and his friend who studied law. So he's kind of got all the legal stuff. So they started this company and it's grown and grown and grown and grown. And now they take between 33 and 35% of like the tutor's wage or the rate or whatever it is, their lesson income. And I quite often see in social media groups tutors saying, oh, I've been working on such and such a platform, maybe this one, maybe a similar one, but they're taking too much, so now I'm trying to kind of siphon off the clients to privately, which you shouldn't really be doing, because like you, like me, we put a lot of time, effort and money and blood, sweat and tears into building up our businesses for the good of tutors, so if they come with that kind of in their background, in their back of their mind, oh, I'll do that for a bit, with the kind under the cloak sort of thing of, oh, I'm just gonna, side hustle it, side stream it. I just don't feel that it's developed. It's not very healthy. It's not very honest. It's not very transparent. So this idea that you have, this model here, actually like squashes that. It's not going to happen.
That's really one. And then what's not developed yet, but it will be coming probably the first of next year, probably coming in 2022, is My Cool Class courses. And this is going to be probably the most unique feature of My Cool Class. So I know a lot of the Chinese platforms, many platforms, they have the pre-built curriculum. You just get on and then you just teach it and stuff. Personally, even with some of the good ones, regardless of with how the companies treat their teachers, the better platforms for the students out there, they even get bored pretty quick, because it might be great for the first month or two, but then before you know it, they can do the lessons with their eyes closed, because the games are the same, the answers are the same, or the orders of things are the same. And you can tell only maybe a small handful of people made all 1,000 lessons. There isn't enough diversity with them in the first place. Not to mention, I'm always finding, grammatical errors in a lot of these, a lot of this curriculum.
They're really bad, full of errors. Yes.
Some of them are very, very poor. So while we don't have our own curriculum right now, what we're going to do, and this is going to be also awesome for teachers. Most teachers, they build their own lesson plans. They put together their own courses, blah, 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 blah. They do it all themselves. They're used to doing for it. And usually that is nothing more than extra work. Most teachers aren't getting paid for their lesson plans or the timing for it. Not at all. So this is going to be cool. What we want to have is we want to have My Cool Class courses. And these are going to be teacher created courses. So let's say, for example, there's one teacher who I know, and she teaches British etiquette. She's British and she teaches British etiquette. Most of her students are Russian or American, wanting to learn, how the queen should behave at the dinner table. So for example, now she could, if she wanted to, and this is a super niche example, I can make it much more general for kids. Okay, I teach kids mostly. I really like outer space. Let's say I want to put together a 12 lesson course on the solar system and outer space and rocket ships and all that fun stuff. I can include, based on the age level, whatever. Most content, you can make it fluctuate between different levels too on the complexity. Nonetheless, I can go into a course creation group. By the way, My Cool Class, we have our own private social media site, just like Facebook, but with no ads. And it's My Cool Class, teachers only. No drama, none of that stuff. So once you join My Cool Class, you actually have your own, our own social media. So I could go in there and I can say, hey, I want to do a class on, the solar system for 8 to 12-year-olds. Anyone else, want to hop in on this project with me? Cool. Maybe I have one or two other teachers, can focus on different aspects. We can put the material together, or I can do it by myself. I don't have to have anyone help me. And then I put it all together. I'll submit it to a curriculum review board. We're going to have a team of teachers, of expert educators and curriculum builders. They'll review it all, and they'll either give you tips to make it better, or they'll say it's awesome and approve it. Then we're going to send it over to our in-house graphic design team. We're going to take your course and bring it to life and brand it My Cool Class. And then to top it off, teachers make royalties.
Good.
I used to play in a band, so I think of it the same thing. You have 3 people in a garage. They write 12 songs. They pitch it to the record company. The record company promotes it and sells it. And then every time that course is sold, you make money off of it. And then other qualified teachers who are allowed to teach what it is. I couldn't teach British etiquette, but then they would be able to go ahead and do it. So ultimately, instead of having, a lot of these platforms are focusing in on big spenders. Buy this huge package and you have, 2 lessons a week for the whole entire year. Give us all of your money. We're not going to do it that way. We want all of these fun, super themed courses, very specific based on, age, subject, and whatnot. So therefore, a student could go ahead, take the outer space course. Cool, they get a badge. Then they can take a dinosaur course. Boom, they can get a badge, and whatever it is. And they can go ahead and do that. And then with ESL courses, we're starting this with just ESL, and we'll grow as the problem is with ESL. The problem isn't with other languages so much as the native and non-native. What we're going to do here is the children, they will be buying, they'll pick the course. My Cool Class, then we will be assigning the teachers, plural. Part of our marketing was we're going to give students one native and one non-native teacher to alternate lessons. We can even pair them up so the same 2 teachers are working together with different students, and they can focus and work with each other on what does the student need to develop. I know on Chinese platforms, if students have more than one teacher, the 2 teachers aren't even allowed to know who the other teacher is. So this will kind of, mitigate that. And then the students paying for the course, if you're qualified to teach it, then you're going to be making the same rate. There's not going to be a point system. There's not going to be an hour. That's just unnecessary.
Is there going to be a rating system? I can hear people asking. No, just kidding.
Yes, there is a rating system. Yes, they can give you stars or take away them. But
so like that is kind of, would you say it's a little bit similar in some respects to Outschool in the approach?
Yeah, we definitely are. We are taking elements from different, what platforms are making money and making tons of it and are screwing over their teachers. So let's see, what does this company do well? Okay, how do we fix that to make it fair for teachers? What does this company do well? Okay, how do we fix this and make it fair for everyone? So yeah, we don't have one specific business model. We are kind of all over the place. And again, if I know one teacher who joined us, they can't wait until July 1st, and they're probably going to be the busiest teacher because they already have about 30 something of their own private students that they're teaching. They do not want to be on the marketplace. They don't need to. They have their own students. They're fine. They're set. So by doing this, one, it takes away, if you are a private independent, entrepreneur teacher, why should you join My Cool Class? Well, one, our platforms together, we're all going to be working, we all own this brand. So that's another most people think it's them versus me when you're working with a company. That needs to be completely erased from your brain, because a cooperative does not work like that. We all are working together 100%. So there isn't going to be that whole you versus them. So yeah, if you're a teacher with My Cool Class, you can say you own My Cool Class. You are, in fact, legally a co-owner of My Cool Class. So, that's really going to help. So now you have teachers all around the world. We have a brand. We're working on our brand. It's a lot easier for, several hundred teachers or 1,000 teachers to build up a brand name and market than it is for an independent person to have everyone know who John Hayes is or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Most
there's a lot of
teachers,
the guru coach thing going on too much today, but also teachers have, with that idea like that, all different teachers have so many different extra specialities and specialisms that they're really good at. Maybe they're really good at like computer graphics, maybe they're good at coding, maybe they're good at I don't know, music. There's all sorts of things that they could really definitely bring to make it bigger and better all the time. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will say that My Cool Class was 99% built on sweat equity. Just physical, actual work, not money. I mean, yeah, we needed money for a few things, but most of it is, it's just us, the founders, our founding team, just, really working our butts off and figuring everything out and doing it out of our own days without getting paid. No one has gotten paid for My Cool Class yet, by the way. So I will put that on the note, even though I'm spending about 16 hours a day on it, 7 days a week for the past 6 months. But
so you launch on July the 1st, don't you?
Yeah.
So how long have you been putting this together?
I posted up in a teacher's Facebook group, I think a week or two before Christmas of last year.
Woo! So that's good.
And I wanted to see if there were any takers on it. And of course, most people just thought I was crazy. That would never work. What's a cooperative? So then I reached out to people in the cooperative world. And then I did my research. Okay, what country? I don't want to do it in Poland. They have horrible tax laws here, and we can't do a cooperative here. So where can we do it at? And then, that's when I learned about, the UK and their cooperative laws and their different, business setups. So, then just, went that direction from there.
Okay, wow. So that's really interesting. So do you want to share your website here for everyone to have a little look at just quickly? Sure. Or let me...
Yeah, sure. You can go ahead and share it.
You want me to do it? Okay. All right. So let me share the screen.
And just to let everyone know, we have 2 websites. We have our domain name, our mycoolclass.com. That's catered towards students. That's where we're drawing, students and whatnot in. So mycoolclass.com. And then secondly, for the teachers and the cooperative aspect of the business, just because, well, the behind the scenes is just as important. This is our cooperative website. So it's co-op.mycoolclass.com there.
Okay. So this is the teacher's end, yeah? This is the teacher's side here, mycoolclass.com.
Correct. And we have all the information too under membership. You see our full membership agreement. Everything is transparent. And yeah, it tells the whole process, what to expect.
Wow. So it's really nice. I like the website. It's really nice. Okay. I like this teacher user membership agreement is only 26 points long, which is good. It means it's really transparent, but that's really good. Okay. I really like that. Okay. So, so that's your little bit about us. I had a look earlier at the student side.
All of us.
That's all. That's the team, is it? That's the
board of directors. Yes.
So like the founding members, yeah.
Yes.
Board of directors. Okay. This is really good. One thing I really like, as we were saying earlier, is that it's, you know, you've got a really diverse team there, which is really nice. And it's really welcoming to see. I'm really pleased to see that, because it's definitely lacking in the ESL industry. But I won't go back into that because we did that bit earlier. Okay, all right. So that's really great.
And then if you want to just take off the co-op part, and you can even see the main website too.
Okay,
there's still a few things that aren't clickable yet because we're not open yet, so they will be clickable in a.
Yeah, I had a little look earlier today, and I did see that, but then when I realised you weren't launching, that's all. Well, you are launching, but you're not like 100% launched yet.
Not until Thursday. So 6 more days. 6 more days.
6 more days. 6 more sleeps. Okay, so walk us through this then. So
sure. So on top, right now we need to we have more and more teachers coming on teaching all sorts of languages, but so far those are our top languages of teachers. We're going to add more subjects in. We'll have to see what we come in, because we have a lot of teachers that are starting to come on. By the way, we're going to stop at 1,000 teachers, and we're at almost 20%. So once we hit 1,000 teachers, we are cutting off all applications until our platform is functional. Teachers have classes and they are satisfied with what they are working. We will absolutely not overhire.
That's really good. That's like my UK one as well. I don't take anyone on until my teachers are booked and they're happy, and and there you go. And that's I think it depends really what kind of a machine you want to drive at the end of the day. Do you want to be driving this Megatron juggernaut where you're kind of always on the hamster wheel, or it just depends what you want out of life, doesn't it? So I think that's really good. It seems to be really built on really nice. I can't click on. Can I click on find a teacher?
No, they're not yet. We're actually waiting for our developer to fix 1 or 2 little minor things.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I get it. It's in the making. It's in the works.
It is, and yeah, we're doing this. Like I said, right now, with all the teachers coming on right now, paying that onboarding fee, this is our upfront capital. We just started raising capital as a cooperative. So one thing that new teachers are realizing when they come on is, we laid down, us founders, we laid down the framework. We put all the big building blocks in place. We answered all the really tough questions. We did all the tedious work that people don't even think of is required to set up a business. Mm-hmm. We did that already. So now we're at the point now where we're going to want everyone to build it up together. Like I said, we're going to have a minimum rate for the marketplace, so there aren't to try to prevent price wars. Teachers are voting on that. I'm not going to come in and make a rule or just pull something out and say, by the way, we're doing this. Any rules that we do have on the platform, it's merely for it's business too. A lot of teachers at first were complaining that when you join My Cool Class, we ask that you regularly keep at least 8 hours a week open on your schedule. This doesn't mean that you have to work 8 hours a week. It doesn't mean you're going to get booked 8 hours a week. But if we're only starting with a couple hundred teachers, and all those teachers only have 2 hours open on their schedule a week, it's not going to give too many options for students to book teachers.
Yeah, and then it just becomes, it's also this thing that if you, for example, courses, if you give a course away for free, and I've actually done this, I've actually done this. I've given a course away for free, no one was interested. I charged for it, people were interested. And also, which is bonker crazy, but also with data, I can see when you give things away for free, I'm talking about courses, it's kind of the same thing. If people don't pay for it, they don't even complete the course. Half of them don't even start the course. But if they pay for it, they do. And I think sometimes, although it's a co-op and it's tutor-led, you do need to have, we don't need to, it's just my point of view. I think there has to be an element of investment in oneself to, you know, to make it work, and also
Sure.
so that people, you know, tutors are going to be serious about it, instead of just saying, oh yeah, I'm an owner of a co-op, da, 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 you know, but they actually have to put in the hard work, which
Sure.
not everybody always wants to do. So I really hope it works. For me, it's really coming from the right place for you.
Yeah, there's going to be some little bumps down the road, but you know, all the to be honest, all the major problems that I had anticipated didn't happen, and then I'm just getting a bunch of little bumps. Like, so it's actually going pretty smooth. All of us are very satisfied with the way things are going. Yeah, you know, it's going to roll up. You know, with my cool class on the marketplace, we're really giving teachers like so much control to do what they want. So if a teacher wants to offer a free demo lesson, they can. If they don't want to, they don't have to. If they want to offer a trial lesson at a discounted price, go right on ahead. Do you want to give a 20-minute free demo or a 40-minute free demo or something in between? Teachers really get to pick and choose all that. You know, and a lot of things are going to be trial and error, because we don't have investors with tons of money that we can just pay people for data or their market research and all that. So, you know, we are going to grow, and but the most important thing is, you know, we're all human, we're all normal people, we're all approachable. How many companies do you know where you can simply just message or you know, DM the director and ask a question? You know, we're doing that. If any member wants to ask me a question, they're open to do that, and I will reply to them.
Yeah,
So
I think that's,
you don't get that with other companies at all.
no, and I mean the ESL industry, it just needs reforming. I mean, and this is why I just went. I mean, I already had a modern foreign languages business, but yeah, this is why I just went 100% freelance with English, because I just didn't like any of it. I didn't like the way that it was being taught. I didn't like the way we were expected to be managed. I just found it grossly unfair and completely uninteresting. We have a question here from someone called Sky Monet who's been watching. I think they might have missed the beginning bit, but they've put, hello, interesting, but the 19%, da 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 da. So, John, do you just quickly want to explain what the 19% is, Sky Monet, because there is some relevance to this. So I'll let John answer this.
Sure. First off, know that 19% is not anyone's profit. That's the first thing to know, because it is a cooperative. So first off, the 19%, it is helping contribute to pay for business expenses, overhead, just operation costs, as expected with any other company. Secondly, teachers are putting into their own paid time off account. It's just a cushion. It's going to be averaged at 7 days a year, based on your average daily salary. So this is really just if you get sick and you need to take a couple days off work, or if you want to take a week-long vacation, you're not missing a quarter of your month's salary when you do that. After that, money is going into the general fund, which is, just that's what it is, a general fund, in case we need anything else for, if we want to expand or open something else. It's our piggy bank. So that's what it is. Also, with the 19%, this is members' contribution. So you may have missed this part earlier, but you're also buying a share in the cooperative. So you own a share in the company. So let's say a few years down the line, we have X amount of profit, surplus, and we're going to be, distributing, paying out dividends to the members. So based on what your 19%, how much you're contributing into the cooperative, that's how the money is going to get dished out at the end of the day. We have a patronage share, which is your work, your economic participation with the cooperative. And then if teachers want to, of course, you must have that, you must hold a minimum £1 share to be in the cooperative, but teachers can also buy equity shares, and you can purchase them in bundles of 25 £1 shares. So you can invest in the cooperative too. So that's where the 19% is going. That's covering, marketing. It's making sure admins are getting paid, because right now they're working 12 to 14 hours a day for free. No joke. So really, that's where your 19% is going. And that is significantly smaller than a lot of other platforms, such as, Preply or Amazing Talker, I think it is, or a few of the other ones. So that's where the 19% is going. So it's not that you're giving that money away and you're never going to see it again. It is literally your investment. If you are an independent teacher, so let's say what you're paying for off to class. Let's say you're paying for off to class material. Let's say you're paying for your Zoom. Let's say you're paying for, a class management system. If you have, your own little LMS or whatever, you're spending time doing your bookkeeping, your own accounting. You're paying out fees on, receiving monies, depending where your students are and whatnot. So you have all of these little things that an independent teacher would have to deal with and worry about themselves, not to mention marketing. Your average independent teacher does not know how to run targeted ads on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
I do.
But most don't. Most
don't. They don't.
Most don't, or they just boost a post and they start wasting their money.
Yeah.
So, by joining a co-op here, you can really do what you do best and focus on just being a teacher. You are involved. You are part of, the decision making. You do get to see the bigger picture. You do get that peer feedback. It's not a competition like other platforms are. A lot of platforms, the teachers, they'll be nice to each other, but at the end of the day, it's still, dog eat dog. So, we're really going to try to prevent that. We're going to be helping each other. If another teacher has a horrible, profile picture, they look like a zombie, or their intro video looks like an 80s film, then yeah, we'll help them upgrade and do it better. So
okay, so Sky, I hope that has answered your question. I think it's a really interesting opportunity if you are thinking of going freelancing and you don't know how to do all these things, like John has said, and you don't want to invest in courses or any of the things. I actually do have courses on that, but they aren't like 20 quid. So, like anything, setting up this company or this co-op, setting up any business takes a lot of time and effort, and it does take an element of finance. And if some people aren't ready to do that, or don't want to invest in that, or invest in courses to do that, then obviously going with a co-op is a really good idea. And I think even like you could even do all of it. You could do, maybe if you're still on a platform, you could maybe still do platform work whilst you're building up on like with Cool Class, and building up maybe a couple of your own private students, like you said. If you're in, at a lesser rate than the standard that's being offered, for example, on Cool Class, what's really nice is that there's that option, there's that flexibility, but most importantly, it's being able to teach without this dictatorship element that is rife in the ESL industry. And actually, it has no place, because if anybody's an expert, it's the teachers. they're the ones that have studied. They are the ones that are teaching the classes. They are the ones that should be respected, perhaps, I don't want to say the most, but as much as anybody else. And they're not, clearly. So the element of the co-op is also addressing the wrongfulness in the politics that exists as well right now in the ESL industry. And if people don't kind of step up and step out and step into what's right, they're always going to be in what's wrong.
And we discussed this for a second before, and then I'll be done. But if you are an independent teacher, you are no different than an Uber driver, Deliveroo worker, or whatever. You are a gig worker, and you are at the mercy of platform capitalists.
Yes.
Yes,
and capitalist is a good word. Yes,
you are. I mean, and you know what? Recently in New York City, a bunch of Uber drivers got together and formed a platform rideshare co-op. It's huge. Actually, it was just in the New York Times, I think, a week or two ago. And they're going to actually go into direct competition with Uber and Lyft. Yeah. A bunch of Deliveroo workers in Spain, they formed a co-op with small restaurant owners to do all of the delivery. So, it is, the idea isn't new, it's just new with this specific industry here.
Yeah.
But
you've taken the initiative. That's what's important, and you've put the effort in, because so many teachers or tutors want to go freelance, but actually a lot of them just don't want to put the work in. And I don't mean that to be nasty. A lot of them just don't. They just think it's easy, and then or they just, I don't know what they think. But I mean, to be free, to be independent, to be really independent, to be a real freelancer or part of a co-op, like you said, even as part of the co-op, the co-op aren't going to sit back and do all the work. You still have to market yourself. You still have to put effort into writing your lessons. That if you're a teacher, it's within you, and it's kind of, you still have to put in the effort. This isn't, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, would you agree?
and the most important thing about cooperatives in general is I say cooperatives. We are really the only hope for balancing out world wealth inequality. It is getting worse and worse and worse all over the world, and it is all, and it's getting even, I won't get into some anti-capitalist speech here, but but especially with platform capitalism such as Uber and things like that, very few people are making way too much money off of everyone else's labor, and they're hoarding that wealth, they're putting it in banks, and that money is never going back out into the economy ever again once it's taken. With the co-op, it keeps the money within locally. Yes, we're global, but it's keeping it within local economies around the world. We're not putting it into big banks or investing in other companies, or no one's getting rich. The whole purpose of a cooperative is to make sure members' needs are taken care of while providing an awesome product for the consumer.
Yeah, but also you're giving back. That's the other thing. A co-op gives back. Like part of the 19% is for the take time off and be paid leave fund that you have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've never heard of that. Why haven't, you get all of these ESL platforms and they say, oh, you've got a contract, but you can't take time off. You can't even go and look after your kids if they're sick. You'll lose the money for the day, and your booking rate will just plummet. So it's like a double punishment, it's so I just think it's really good. Okay, I'm just going to stop our live here. Stay with me, John, just for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to stop our live on YouTube just because I want to say super thank you to you. So I am going to edit the description within 10 minutes after we finished, and I'm going to leave all of John's details in the description for Cool Class, so that you can go along and have a look, register if you want, or do whatever you want. I'll give you all of their details. I'm sure you'll be able to find them anyway. It's Cool Class, but I am going to leave a link down below. As always, everybody, have a great evening and happy teaching. Okay.